Hello everyone, welcome back to the little shop of hoarders in the PDX Picker channel. I am Chris. We have some interesting news going on in the reseller community. eBay is rolling out some really great new features that maybe you haven't heard about, so you're going to want to stick around and hear those. Also, I have a great tip for any of you out there who struggle with figuring out what color something is. I struggle a lot with figuring out what color certain items of clothing are. It's a little bit due to my color blindness. It's a little bit due to the fact that probably because I'm a guy and I'm just terrible at figuring that out. But I got a great tip for those of you that struggle with that. It's super easy. We're also going to talk about the past week of sales for me at the end and go over some of the better ones, probably the top 10 best sales for the week. So let's go ahead and get right into it. As I mentioned, eBay is rolling out in the next couple of days and weeks a few great updates for us resellers, hopefully things that will make our reselling lives easier. The first one I'm not so certain about, but I guess it could be better than I think. It is their new AI assistant for messaging. Basically, it will come up with some predetermined phrases and things that you can just push a button and it'll populate those words and that verbiage in your message to help make your messaging simpler and easier, especially if you're any type of reseller that gets the same types of questions over and over and over again. You should be able to have a pre-populated answer that'll just pop up and save yourself a lot of time with that. I use it a lot in my normal job, more than I ever thought. I don't know if any of you use Microsoft Teams, but there's a lot of predetermined message replies that just pop up. Simple things like, thank you, with an exclamation point. Just things that seem somewhat related to what the person messaging you just said. Saves you a little bit of time. I thought it was really dumb at first, but I've ended up using it a lot more than I thought. Maybe that's the case for this AI assistant for messaging that eBay is ramping out here shortly. If you don't have it already, I think it'll be coming in waves over the next couple of days and weeks. Something else that eBay is doing to also make things simpler and easier for us, they are allowing us to send and negotiate offers back and forth within the messaging app, rather than having to go through the separate offers process, the whole different separate offers screen where you accept or counter offer or decline. Everything apparently will be available to us in the messaging portion of eBay, which is great. That can really save a lot of time. I am not a huge fan of the offer piece. Sometimes it's easier to include messaging back and forth. Maybe there's an explanation for why I'm declining something. Maybe there's an explanation for why my counter offer is the amount that it is. And a lot of times that gets lost. That message gets lost in the eBay process and in the offer pages. I know there's a lot of times where the potential buyer isn't seeing that. So I'm looking forward to this. I think this will be a huge bonus and benefit for the sellers moving forward. This is a big one I'm looking forward to. It'll save us a lot of time here and there. If any of you use the eBay shipping labels to ship your items, so you're not using Pirate Ship or any of the other outside of eBay shipping label process, if you use the shipping through eBay, you send an item and for whatever reason maybe it gets lost or something happens along the way and the buyer opens up a case saying they didn't receive the item. Well, you know you have a certain number of days to respond. Even if you have no idea where that package is along the way, you have to give that buyer a refund. Sometimes what happens is a few days later, a few weeks later, sometime later after you refund the buyer, well, that item still gets delivered. The buyer ended up paying nothing for the item that they ended up receiving, and it certainly wasn't our fault. It was most likely the shipper's fault, USPS in this case. eBay is now going to automatically detect that and give us as sellers credit for that refund that we had to give. In the past, if we've ever gone through this process, we have to contact eBay to get a refund. It's clunky. We all know how awful it is to deal with eBay customer service. So to have this automated and happen without us even realizing it is a huge, big bonus for us as sellers. So thank you, eBay, for implementing this. Hopefully that will happen sooner than later. I don't know exactly when that is rolling out, just like the others that I've mentioned, but I think it will be in the coming days and weeks. Those of you that have been following my channel for a while may remember the video I think I released last, which was talking about how eBay is literally stealing money from resellers when it comes to the promotion that they had emailed about with promoted listings or the priority strategy. I'm not going to rehash that again, but I just want to let you know, any of you that have been following along and are interested, I had contacted eBay to get a refund on that. A couple times I heard that yes, I would. One time I definitively heard that I would not. I contacted them one more time and talked to a really nice representative who said that yes, I should be getting that refund. I just needed to go to the support team to get the refund. Long story long, I didn't get the refund. I'm not going to get the refund. It's 65 bucks that's lost. It is what it is. Live and learn. I'm definitely never doing promoted listings with a priority strategy where you have to pay per click. And I'm frankly not going to take advantage of any of the promotions that eBay sends out on any sort of promoted listings or anything like it. I'm kind of done with any of these buried in the terms and conditions. You have to be a lawyer. In this case, you literally have to read eBay's mind in order to determine how they are going to run this promotion. I'm done with it. We're moving on. That way I can be in control of it because I'm never going to have to deal with them again because I'm not going to choose to opt into it. Something to keep an eye on for us sellers who sell on Poshmark. Poshmark has changed leadership. Apparently it's going to be happening in the next couple of days. Their old CEO is out and new leadership is coming in. Don't know what that's going to mean. It could be great. It could be absolutely no difference whatsoever. It could be really bad, but stay tuned. I'm assuming something is going to change on Poshmark. Whatever that is, we will see moving forward. But keep an eye out for news on that and keep staying tuned to this channel. Please subscribe if you're not already to get some updates from me on that very topic in the future. Okay, and before we get into the last week of sales for me and my top 10 sales, let's go over that tip that I was talking about for people like me who don't know the colors of items. Let me give you an example of what I just did to help me out with this. Right here, I have got a quarter zip from John W. Nordstrom. It's a merino wool. Bought it at the thrift store. Probably not going to sell for a ton of money, but one thing I definitely don't want to do is claim that it's one color, sell it to somebody, they get it in the mail, and they find out it's a completely different color than what I thought it was. I hate it. It's happened to me a few times. It's just what happens because I'm a little bit colorblind, and sometimes I just can't tell what colors are regardless of that. I don't know if this is going to come through on the camera, but this is one of those items. I couldn't really tell what it was. Here's the tip, though. For those of you that don't have it already, you can download the ChatGPT app on your phone. When that is downloaded, you can take a photo of the item. In ChatGPT, you can upload a photo and just ask it, what color is it? ChatGPT is going to take a look at the image, and they're going to tell you what the color is. It takes about 6 seconds, maybe even less than that. Super fast, super easy, probably much more reliable than I am. So if you're bad with colors, it's probably a good tool to use. I'm sure it's not 100% accurate. It still has a lot to do with how effective our camera is in capturing the color. But if you're bad with colors like I am, like I said, I'm sure it's better than I am, or at least it's a good second opinion on what a color may be. If you're good with colors, I don't recommend doing it because you're probably already rocking it and you don't need any help. But for those of you like me that are not great, definitely consider using that as an additional tool in helping you minimize the returns in your reseller business. All right, we're going to go over my sales for the last week. We'll start off in my reseller Genie so you can see the overall picture. As you can see for the week of the 1st through the 8th of September, so fresh new data. Total sales, $1,225.09, had $527 of expenses for a profit of almost $700. Profit margin of 56.96%, so that was a really good week for me. That's right on pace with my $5,000 a month goal that I have. That's usually my goal, is to make about $5,000 a month. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the best sales that I had for the week. Start off with this Milwaukee Tools job site radio. You can see I originally had it listed for $60. I took an offer for $50 plus shipping on that. Paid $5 for this at a garage sale. These are really good items to pick up. Milwaukee, of course, a very good brand. Took a while to sell, maybe 2 to 3 months, because I did price it on the higher end. It also didn't come with a battery, which I think is one of the main reasons it took a while to sell, but you could still plug it into an AC outlet. This next item, I love to sell these. I think you should always be on the lookout for especially this particular kind of basketball at garage sales or thrift stores. The Wilson Evolution ball is a super fast seller. I picked this up for $3.99 at my favorite thrift store. This is an indoor specific ball, so because of that, they're almost, as long as the buyer or the previous person, I should say, previous owner, did in fact use it as an indoor ball, that means they're probably going to be in really good condition. As you can see, this one here hardly looks like it was used at all. Sold in a day for $35 plus shipping. They come in different sizes. This is a junior, or actually I think a women's sized ball, so still sold super fast. So I love Wilson Evolution indoor basketballs. I think this is the 4th or 5th one I've sold. This is the last Vitamix item that I had. I sold the whole blender already for like 185 bucks, and then I had this dry goods container. You put like your oatmeal or your coffee grinds or your spices in here, and you can blend them up that way. I don't really know what you put in here. That's just my guess. But anyway, paid just a fraction, like $1 at the most for this, and it sold for $44.99 plus shipping. Got a really good deal on an estate sale on this, so not surprising. Vitamix, good products and good items to sell. This will be the next item will be the first of 2 similar type items, and this was all from the same estate sale that I bought this. I bought this item and then a future one as well. This is a 1989 Ford Light Duty Truck Shop Manual Volume A, Volume 1 and 2. So 2 books. Again, literally picked this up for like pennies, like $1 at the most. Didn't take long to sell. Sold for $40 plus shipping. I think I picked up a stack about this big of these truck shop manuals. These are different. These are not like Chilton's or Haynes, those types of manuals that help people figure out how to fix their cars. These are direct from the manufacturer. So this is Ford in this case. People will pay a premium for these, even though this is a 1989, literally just a single model year, 1989. Multiple different types of vehicles, but still sold and quite quickly for really good money. This next item, I feel like a lot of resellers sleep on these. I just don't see these picked up or listed as sales as often as I feel like they should. This is a vintage Sears battery charger. This is probably the 10th or 15th battery charger that I have sold. These sell like hotcakes for really good money, and usually people, when they are selling them at yard sales, even sometimes at estate sales or thrift stores, they don't ask more than $10 for them. This particular one only sold for $30. Sometimes they can go for 45, 50, 60 bucks or more. It just depends. But do not sleep on battery chargers. They're also really easy to test if you're willing to spark a little bit. All you need to do is just plug them in and take, like right here, these 2 little ends that would hook up to the batteries. Just touch them really quick. And if they spark, you know that it is functioning and working well. Super easy, super simple to test, and really good sellers. They don't all sell for a ton of money. You can usually get at least $20. So $5 or less on them is pretty comfortable amount to spend. Don't sleep on battery chargers. I found this pair of Ufos sandals at the thrift store for $7.99. They are practically new. This is a model called Can Do. And I hadn't seen that particular model before, and the good news with that is it sold pretty quickly for $39.99 plus shipping on that one. These look like they had hardly been worn at all. I think we can look at the sole here, and you'll get an idea. Yeah, you can just see hardly any wear, which made me feel very comfortable spending $7.99 for these. I won't spend $7.99 on all Ufos sandals, but these ones definitely a no-brainer on picking those up. This next item, I saw this. I didn't know what the heck it was, but I figured why not look it up. I was at the thrift store. It was $4.99. This is called a Bug Pack crank pulley. Basically, this brand, I don't even know if it's in business anymore, but it was a pretty popular brand of secondary market parts for old vintage Volkswagens usually the Volkswagen Bug or Beetle, and this is one of those. This is a crankshaft pulley, like I mentioned, for the Volkswagen Type 1 Bug or Beetle. Paid $4.99 for it, listed it for $51 plus shipping, and it sold in about a week-ish. So really good profit on that one as well. Like I said, I didn't know what it was, but I just had Google Lens come to the rescue, and it told me pretty much exactly what it was and made me realize I think that was a good pickup, and it was. Now on to the last item from that earlier estate sale. This is another set of service manuals. This is from 1994 Ford. This one sold, this pair here sold for $100 plus shipping. 1994 Ford F-150, F-250, Bronco, blah, blah, blah. Again, paid like $1 or $2 for this at the most. Sold for $100 plus shipping in maybe 3 weeks or a month. I still have, I think, 3 or 4 others listed, and I have, I think, 2 or 3 more that I still need to list. So that was a wonderful, awesome pickup. Probably the second biggest winner for total sale, or biggest sale of the week, was this item. This next one is a no-brainer, very obvious. Saw this for $7.99 at my thrift store. This is a brand new sealed Google Nest Smart Thermostat. Listed it yesterday, sold today, $84.99, free shipping, so basically $75. I mean, when I saw it on the shelf, I knew it was essentially like picking up a $50 bill. Those, if it's used, it's not necessarily an automatic pickup. Probably is, but not necessarily. You have to open it up, of course, and look to make sure all the parts and pieces are there. But sealed in the box like this, obvious, just like picking up a $50 bill. In this case, it was more like a $60 bill. So super awesome to find on that one. You know, sometimes I go to the thrift store later in the day. This was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It had been set out earlier that day on the shelf. I don't know when. It could have been there for a couple of minutes, could have been there for 4 or 5 hours, but it's great. It's great to find it. And then the big sale of the week, this won't be super visible because it was on Poshmark, and Poshmark doesn't have a great format to show sales, but this little tiny thing here is a pair of Nike Air Force One shoes. So real quick, I'll show you what it sold for on Poshmark, and then I'm going to pull up the old eBay listing so you can see some better pictures of it. Sold for $161 plus shipping, of course, on Poshmark. And then my net earnings off that are $128.80. I paid $12.49 for these at the thrift store. This is my listing that on eBay. So again, Nike Air Force One High Winter Camo, size 8.5 women's, 6.5 men's. These are men's shoes, so I was a little bit nervous that they were only a size 6.5 men's, so that's why I actually marketed these as a women's shoe. This is just this cool, semi-rare, I think from 2017 they came out, Air Force Ones with this kind of funky like rope shoelace, and it took me a long time to figure out how to do this, to put the shoelaces back on. So I ended up, it took me like a month to list these. And they didn't sell right away. I think I had them listed for about 3 or 4 months, but $12.49 into $161, $128 after fees on Poshmark. That was the big sale of the week. So that's going to do it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. As always, thank you to my PDX Posse member Harley Gal for supporting the channel. If you also want to support the channel, click on my username and choose the join button. $2.99 a month is a huge support for me. If you haven't already, please subscribe and like this video. If you did, subscribe to this channel like I mentioned. Get some more content like this in the future. Good luck with your ventures out there, reselling or otherwise. We're going to catch you on the next video, I hope. Until then, bye-bye.